Hello and welcome back to Canon Chatter TV. My name is Lee, and we are back on Canon Chatter TV with a very special look back at the career of Arsene Wenger. And this evening, I am joined by the poshest man in sports entertainment, flawless, Posh Bertie. How are you, mate? You good?
Yes, I'm doing very good. I desperately need a haircut, but that's going to be taken care of on Saturday, so that's fine. But apart from that, I'm doing fantastic. I hope you're doing good.
I'm doing okay, mate. I'm working ever so hard. It's been a very, very long day, as I said off camera. My day started at 4 o'clock this morning, and as time of recording, we're just gone 8 o'clock in the evening on the 22nd of September. And that date, strangely enough, is very significant. Do you know why that is, mate?
I was going to think, well, if that was a song by Earth, Wind and Fire, but that was the 21st of September.
No, yeah,
so
that
I'm
was
getting confused there. 22nd, what happened?
Well, let me tell you, it was the day Arsenal unveiled Mr. Wenger. Arsene Wenger was on the pitch. There you go. And I thought, what better platform to come out and maybe celebrate and look back a little bit about his career when he joined the club. So I know you're a little bit younger than myself, all right? So let me tell you a little story, shall we, ladies and gentlemen? So and this is absolutely true. You can ask my brother how this went down. I would have been about 16 years old back at the day. I may have had slightly blonder hair, if we're talking about hair, and happened to be around my next door neighbour's place, and we were going to play a bit of Championship Manager. Yeah, the old school one. And we were literally maybe 2 days before the new season was going to kick off. Now, if you recall, Arsenal were in turmoil a little bit. We went through the George Graham affair and all that business.
Bruce Rioch.
Bruce Rioch was the manager.
Yeah.
He was there for one season. Recall, we signed Bergkamp, we signed David Platt, and we went on to have a okay-ish kind of season in terms of, we finished into UEFA Cup as it was positions. I think courtesy of the last day, if I recall, from a long-range goal from David Platt against Nottingham Forest. If my long-term memory is going back. Anyway, we were there. They were playing a bit of Championship Manager. Had the old CFAX on. You know my graphics that I used to chat along. Yeah, we just looking at the headlines and what was going on. The old teletext CFAX. And then we see a little bit of breaking news. We see Arsenal on the red button, and we press the red button. Arsenal have sacked Bruce Rioch literally on the eve of the season. And we're like, what? So, yeah, it left us a little bit bewildered. I mean, Arsenal aren't really renowned for sacking the managers. Even now, really, there's not been many. So certainly. So anyway, as it all transpired, as Stuart Houston took the reins temporarily and started up the season, then Pat Rice, the long-serving assistant manager, was caretaker for a little while. It turned out that Grand Passate manager Arsene Wenger was going to come to the club.
Who?
It's exactly what the newspapers were saying. Arsene who? And well, it was eye-opening. I can remember talking about the great Johan Cruyff with my brother, saying maybe he could join us. Maybe he had that big name to put us into a different stratosphere. But anyway, Bobby Robson was mentioned as well. But we got caught off guard. Arsene Wenger, name that literally none of us heard of. But anyway, he come to our shores and pretty much revolutionised how Arsenal played the game, how they looked behind the scenes in terms of very early doors. They were looking at changing diets. They looked at bringing in sports science, all this sort of new medicine stuff that I mean, it's very different from the days of going out for a few pints after the game, from the likes of Tony Adams and Ray Parlour.
Yeah.
Sure. But I mean, you're probably not old enough to remember them days, right?
No, I think obviously I watched football with my dad when I was very young, but when you're like 3 and 4 years old, you obviously kind of remember something, but not fully, not all of it, if that makes sense. So my big remembrance of football started around 2007, that kind of time.
Okay. Well,
so it probably would have been almost after Thierry Henry left. Maybe the latter stages of Henry's Arsenal career.
Yeah, you probably got the last season just after the Champions League final, right?
Okay. That was 2006, I think. I think
that's
that
right.
was a bit of
Yeah. So I think he did the next season, didn't he? Then he was out to join them at the Nou Camp. I'll take us back a little bit then. So I recall at this stage, Ian Wright, obviously the main man, hadn't quite broken the Cliff Baston's record yet. It was a few behind there. Had a massive falling out with Rioch. It was like, Wrighty must have been something along the lines of 33 or 34 at that time. And I believe he handed in a transfer request and all this sort of stuff. Things weren't going well. He was getting left out. He was being put out on the wing, and Wrighty wasn't a happy boy. And I remember being told, I can't remember, maybe it was source from inside the club, maybe told the story where people were saying to him, look, don't worry, you'll be with the club longer than Mr. Rioch. And I thought for a veteran striker like that to be told something like that was a bit strange. So anyhow, things all worked themselves out very, very nicely indeed. We obviously we started off the season with, like I mentioned, with Houston, and then Pat Rice took over. Some wins, some losses, some mediocre kind of.
Yeah. You kind of expect that if you've not got an actual manager in charge. It's going to be quite bumpy, isn't it?
Exactly. A few bumps in the road. I haven't got absolutely every single result in front of me. I'm not quite.
It wasn't something amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Well, actually, I'll go back and remind. It's quite appropriate as we're recording this. We actually just round about that time, just before round about when we started that season off, we signed a young French midfield player by the name of Patrick Vieira from AC Milan.
Oh, so that was the season. I do know who Patrick Vieira is.
Yeah,
I'm not that young, Lee. Come on.
No, I know. But we signed two French players on the. I think it may have been just after, just either on that start of the season or just after.
Yeah.
Remy Gard was the other one as well.
Wow. I remember him as a manager. That brief time.
Yeah, you might do. It's quite appropriate I bring up Vieira, very young player, very, not sure about this guy. And then all of a sudden, back in '96, Mr. Wenger, he brings him up. But I think he debuted against Sheffield Wednesday in a 4-1 victory, if I recall, very early in his tenure. So anyway, we finished the season. I think his first sort of that 96-97 season, I believe we finished third. Second season's the one that is got quite interesting. By which stage we had Nicolas Anelka around, and that he came in the first January. We replaced John Hartson in the squad. If you remember John Hartson?
No, I remember Francis Jeffers, but
yeah,
John
so again,
that's a bit of a
yeah, fair enough. We'll look into him later on. Yeah, the second season was much more interesting. We picked up a few trophies. Yeah, the first time we became Premier League champions, mate. Premier League FA Cup double. It's a
and
sensation.
At the time, there were only 2 Premier League winners before Arsenal won it, so that was quite a historic achievement for us.
Exactly was. Exactly was. And then he goes and repeats the feat in 2002.
Yes.
So
I would have been 1 year old at the time, so I wouldn't have remembered that properly. But I do know the historic match at Old Trafford. Sylvain Wiltord getting the goal, and
yeah, absolutely. Well, there's 2 games at Old Trafford ring a bell to me. One is Mark Overmars just drifting in. We finally get a goal at Old Trafford for the first one, and then like you mentioned, Sylvain Wiltord.
Yeah,
we picked up the trophy on that day. Incredible scenes. It was good stuff.
Yeah.
Then we went on to the Invincible campaign. We go to 04, 49 league matches unbeaten. We overtook Nottingham Forest's record for the unbeaten run in the league. Forest, I think, had
41, I think.
41, and then we got 7 more. That's right.
Yeah.
So again, a feat Mr. Wenger managed to achieve with us.
Yeah.
Which was, and he even called it, if I recall, in the pre-season, he said he was asked the question, how far do you think this team can go? And he said, I think they can go unbeaten. That had a few bumps in the road as well. I mean, you might recall a few, particularly the Champions League defeat against Chelsea, Wayne Bridge.
When was this? 2008? 2000?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that was in the Invincible campaign. So
okay.
Yeah. I'm referring to. Yeah, we went unbeaten in the Premier League, but obviously there was a few bumps in the road.
2004, I was 3 or 4 years old, so I might have.
I'm just going through the history a little bit, mate.
Okay.
So right, we'll go into posh land in just a minute. Yeah. So yeah, we went through there, 50 bumps in the road, unbeatable season, and there we've spoken about this game quite a lot and this season quite a lot on the channel, especially on Desert Island. We went to the Champions League final in 2006. It was the game against Barcelona.
Yeah.
Where it all went a little bit wrong for
Jens Lehmann got sent off
very early in the game. Sol Campbell got the goal just before half time.
Yeah.
Well,
it was all going well at the start. We were 1-0 up, even with 10 minutes. Did Lehmann get sent off first and then we were 1-0 up, or was it the other way around?
Yeah, we had the red cards very early. And then
we scored with 10 men.
We scored with 10 men from the free kick. I think it was from Sol Campbell got the goal.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I believe, if I remember rightly, Henrik Larsson came on for Barcelona, the Celtic great.
Henrik Larsson. That is, yeah.
Oh, yes. I'm a very old man.
Man United legend, Henrik Larsson.
More Celtic legend, I would suggest. Yeah, it all went a bit belly up after the second half, but it was what could have been on that occasion, I think. And then we have a defining period, I think, which maybe we can both talk about a little bit because you might remember a little bit more of it.
Okay.
We've gone through the Champions League final. As I've just fallen over that piece of paper. Arsenal think about moving away from Highbury. How about I get your thoughts about leaving Highbury first?
Right, so I would have been very young during the Highbury era. I might remember watching a team in in our last season we played in these claret shirts, didn't we?
That's right, yeah.
So I may remember as a wee laddie watching a team in claret shirts and some guy called Terry Henry or whatever play football. So I kind of vaguely remember that. I was very young, so I didn't know. I just know that there was a guy with Henry on the back of his shirt.
Henry.
And I thought, oh, that's a name. And
it is a name. The best name in the game, I would say.
That was my early football memories. That was very early football memories. Probably Arsenal's last ever season at Highbury. And so it didn't really affect me that much moving to a new stadium because, again, I'm too young to remember Highbury properly, if you will.
Yeah.
So no, I'm an Emirates kid.
You're an Emirates kid.
I apologise for giving you an existential crisis, but
no, so I'm just sort of getting my OAP status out, ready to go here.
I go over 22, Lee. Come on.
Oh, bless you, Posh. You are so kind to me. Thank you.
Do you want the £20 now or
PayPal it later? Yeah.
All right. Cheers.
Nice. Now I'll tell you a quick story because Highbury had meant an awful lot to me. My first trip to Highbury, I do remember going up with my dad and my brother. I think it might have been Christmas sort of period, might have been Boxing Day against, I think it was Aston Villa. And I did not have the knowledge. I didn't really know what was going on around that sort of time. Not because I wasn't old enough. It's just I didn't have that connection just yet.
Yeah.
I distinctly remember walking out of Highbury, Arsenal Underground Station, straight forward through the North Bank gates, past the live band that was playing. And as a musician, I've lit up, of course. I say, live band, this is fantastic. And I'm looking around the ground, and obviously it's 1800s. Highbury was standing, and you could tell it'd been there for a good long while. Anyway, I just see the place and think, wow, look at this. This is a bit special. Obviously, I think we come out the game, I think, with a narrow win, I think. And I'm just sort of, it all started from that moment. And then I thought, well, I'm going to have to do my history. I'm going to look up at all this.
My football knowledge, my football history knowledge is the last game at Highbury was against Wigan, and Thierry Henry got a hat-trick.
He did. And do you know, my brother and his one of his best mates managed to get up there. He didn't get a ticket to the game, but he was in or around the stadium area. I think he managed to get round. He was at one of the pubs up there. So saw the majority of the game round there. Believe they let him in right at the last. They let him in, and he was there for the celebration afterwards. So I'm not jealous at all about that.
Moving swiftly on.
But yeah, it was a tough time because from what was a really, really good squad, probably prime Wenger squad really in terms of their playing capacity, and the likes of we mentioned Terry Henry and Terry Henry and Bergkamp, Lundberg, Vieira, Gilberto. The names go on and on.
Yeah,
it was like they have to pay for the stadium now, and it was that sort of stage where Mr. Wenger had to make some very, very difficult calls, and to keep financing the stadium and to keep the club going. Unfortunately, players had to start leaving, much to our chagrin. The likes of Henry went up to Barcelona, and that was a really tough time. Do you remember any of this when some of the more established names that I'm thinking, like Nasri, perhaps you might know?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of remember Henry's last season at Arsenal, kind of, but my properly getting into football was the season Henry left, so 2007-8 season.
So we're talking like Van Persie time.
We're talking the era of Van Persie and Nasri, and I apologise for that bad language. But
it's all right. It's all right. We can edit it out later, mate. It's fine.
Adebayor. So, but yeah, those people.
goodness sakes. Absolutely. But yeah, no, all part of the club's history.
Yeah.
Let's be fair. Yes, be fair. It was all part of a bit of a, should we call it a bit of a rebuild, I would suggest?
Yeah, it was a new era, if you will.
Because, of course, Bergkamp retired as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
So
Vieira was gone.
yeah.
Lundberg went as well. He went to West Ham, I believe.
Good career move, wasn't it?
Yeah, I know. His career was electric since then, wasn't it?
Absolutely. But I've got to say, Freddie gave us some pretty darn good memories. I remember his golden debut. I'm that old. Came against Man United, and he scored a substitute, and he lobbed. I think he lobbed Schmeichel on debut.
Wow.
That's a way to introduce yourself.
Yeah.
Look into that. If any of our younger viewers haven't seen that, look into it. It's well worth going for.
Oh.
But like I said, rebuild and a half. So we're sort of replacing one Dutch legend for another Dutch player who took the captain's armband, took playing for a season, and then decided to clear off.
Although that his last, I'm sorry for jumping all the way here, but his last season in 2012 was brilliant for him. He was scoring left, right, and centre, so that was fantastic.
Mainly left. Mainly
yeah,
left.
I know. But it was a good season for him, the last season. But less said about the next season, the better.
I've got no problem talking about him. To be fair, you know, he took the captain's team pretty serious for the season that he managed to get out there, and he delivered more often than not. It was just a shame that everything got tarnished, and he. If my memory's correct, didn't he have Alex Ferguson's last season at Man United after that?
He did.
Yeah.
He did, yeah.
So I haven't even got that written down. That sort of just come to me. I think.
Yeah.
So we're talking sort of in an era. So as we're in at the Emirates, we've never managed to get a any sort of league run going, certainly into the levels of where we were in terms of challenging. But we still managed to pick up plenty of FA Cups along the way. We did. We can mention it if you like. Go on. You can bring up 2014. Go on.
I was just going to say that he's got the most FA Cups won by a manager, isn't he? He had 6 or 7 FA Cups.
It was 7, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay. It was, and again, you brought it up. I will mention it. 2014, the FA Cup final. It was, of course, one of my matches I picked on Desert Island Kickabouts, and rightly so, because it had a mixture of both despair but relief. It had all the emotions. If you want to hear more about it, go and check out my Desert Island Kickabouts. It is available on YouTube, youtube.com/CannonChatterTV.
Oh, good man. I need to get this man on the payroll, ladies and gentlemen.
Of course I was. Okay, never mind.
But it's a really good one to mention, actually. It was on a real tough period for Arsenal in terms of we hadn't picked up any trophies. We got to a couple of finals along the way. There's certainly a League Cup final I can recall that we managed to get to. It was a load of kids playing against Chelsea. Yeah. But then there was the first. It was the first.
Memory's gone blank.
No, we had that one, and we had the Birmingham City one as well. Which
that one. Okay. All right.
That one. But as I said, so there were very difficult times and Arsene got a lot of criticism for it, didn't he?
Yeah, towards the latter stages of his Arsenal career, he did get a lot of criticism, including me. I'll be honest with you. I think it started when in 2013 when we lost 3-1 to Aston Villa in the opening game of the season.
I remember.
We pretty much sold an entire squad of players, or it felt like it anyway, and the only player we bought was Yaya Sanogo. So
He
it
was a
was.
superb striker. I don't know what you're talking about.
I know, but only one player compared to an entire players in the double-digit figures. It wasn't really good, and he got a lot of flack,
He did.
a lot of criticism after that one result, and it wasn't good.
Indeed, but like you mentioned, in that time, we picked up the trophy again against Hull City. Sonogo came on in that match. I think made a difference.
He did. He made a huge difference. I think there was another sub that made another difference.
You
as
laugh
well.
about it.
Some guy, Aaron Ramsey, I think. But
Ramsey, I think.
Sonogo was the big difference there, as we can all agree.
Absolutely, it was that physical presence up top that we actually needed.
Yeah, that season was a bit of a mixed bag, wasn't it? We started very well. We were top of the league until like February, and we just got some really dreadful results, namely against Liverpool and Chelsea. But the FA Cup win, it was a bit of a weird season, but it started great. It started terrible, then we managed to get great, then it went really terrible again, and then we started winning some more, ended up winning the FA Cup. So yeah, it was a strange season, but mostly good, I'd say.
Yeah, and it brought to an end that 9-year stretch of not having any.
That's what made us, us relieved in a way.
Exactly.
I finally knew what it was like to win a trophy.
Yeah, and I would say that possibly. I mean, without having absolutely every single stat in front of me, that was probably one of the sort of final highlights, if you like. We had a few more seasons along the way, but
well, I think that FA Cup final against Chelsea in 2017 was a big highlight. I think that was very good. I remember that match.
How much do you remember it? Because that one in my brain at the moment is a little sketchy.
I know we scored first.
Was that the Mertesacker game?
Might have been. Did he score the second goal? I think Diego Costa equalised. That might be wrong. I think it might have been. I don't know.
Right.
But yeah, and no. Did Chelsea get a red card in that game? I don't know, but I know the score's 2-1 to Arsenal.
Yeah, I remember that. That's quite well. And after that long tenure, he did leave in 2018. I think was his last match. Huddersfield, I want to say. Yes,
I've got quite an interesting anecdote about when I found out he left.
Go on then.
So being a young man, I was in college at the time in 2018, and we were all on the laptops learning away, writing some coursework, if you will, or whatever. I can't really remember. And being the naughty little scoundrel I am, I just checked Sky Sports in the background because I was bored. Suddenly, big yellow breaking news colours: Arsene Wenger to leave Arsenal at the end of the season. Right, the room was silent. Everyone was at work, and all of a sudden, you heard me go, "Oh my god!" To which everyone was looking, and it was a bit of a chaos. You had a few football fans in that class. I was like, "Look at this!" and I kind of caused a bit of havoc in the class. So yeah, sorry, miss. I apologize.
It's from a coursework I'm doing referencing. That's something I don't know. But came as I don't know. Was it a surprise? I don't know.
He had
he had a great run.
He had a 2-year contract extension in 2017. Whether I agreed with that or not is a different story. But we all thought if he was going to leave, he was going to leave in 2019 when his contract expired. But no, he left in 18.
I think for a lot of reasons, really. I think the club probably felt like it needed a bit of a change. It felt like it was a little bit stale, perhaps. But as I say, with football management, it's difficult, isn't it? It's difficult. You sort of line it up, don't you? I'm certainly in my head thinking of what ifs, and what if Arsene had stayed for another season, and what if Unai Emery hadn't? joined. But it's all ifs and buts. It was
Well, Arteta was linked with the job in 2018. At the time, I thought, no, we have to get an experienced manager who knows what it's like to win a trophy. He's getting thrown into the deep end. That's not right. Not Brendan Rodgers either. And
we're not going to talk about Brendan Rodgers on 2 broadcasts on the trot, are we?
Well, he was linked with the job by then. And at the time, when Unai Emery, when I found out he was going to be the next manager, at the time I thought, that's a great appointment. He knows what it's like to win trophies. We're in the Europa League in this season coming. He knows what it's like to win that. He's won it like 4 times, and he's got silverware. He seems to be a winning manager. So at the time, I thought that was a good appointment, but it turned out to be a bad evening.
That is even worse than my jokes, mate. And I tell you that takes some doing. So I congratulate you for it. But I think on that bombshell of bringing Unai into it, I think we'll sort of wrap it up a little bit, I reckon. So really, in closing, we mentioned Arsene was one of the most successful manager in our history to date. You never know things, I'm always hopeful. We're top of the league, guys.
Yeah, you say that top of the league, etc. And when we said no club will ever succeed Arsenal's 49-game unbeaten run, there is one club in the National League South, but that's a story for another day. We don't know.
Go on. It's a running gag with you, me and you. You might as well. Who could that be, mate?
If you want me to mention it. So Arsenal are with the only club in England to go an entire season without losing. Well, we're the only club to go 49 games unbeaten. We are the Invincibles for a reason. At time of recording, my second favourite team, my local club, Ebbsfleet United, who are in the National League South, Championship League 1, League 2, Conference South, 5 divisions below Arsenal, have played 8 and won 8 this season. Wow. And in all competitions, if you include the FA Cup, played 9, won 9. So we're 9 games unbeaten. We're coming for you, Arsenal. Right?
Okay. Wow, it's a
heel turn. Go on, proper Ebbsfleet now. Hang on, this is an Arsenal channel.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll do the Ebbsfleet chat along next time, shall we?
When Ebbsfleet face Arsenal in the FA Cup 3rd round, yes, I said when. It's happening.
It's happening,
and
guys.
If it's at home, I'm going to invite the entire Cannon Chatter cast to Stonebridge Road.
Let's do it. Let's do it, guys.
Happening. Yeah.
Fair enough.
So, on that note.
Yeah, indeed. So we'll sort of wrap it up. So, as we mentioned right at the top of the show, all them years ago, 1996, we appointed him. We're looking back, and I've got to say, it's an incredible run, a longevity of a reign, which I doubt we'll see again, possibly. Hedging my bets a little bit, but it's one of them that it felt very much in the same light as Sir Alex Ferguson. That longevity of a managerial run, which was very special indeed. So,
and I think even if someone does go through has a long period at a club, I don't think they'll ever come to the iconicness, if that's a word, of someone like Arsene Wenger.
Yeah, absolutely. Arsenal.
It will never be that historical.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you with the development of the Emirates and all that sort of thing, it was all under his guidance. There's always going to be that memory for us. So I think that's probably a very, very good way to end this broadcast.
Also, a lot of good players came through the youth system with it under him, namely Jack Wilshere.
Yeah, exactly. No one complained about that, did they, mate? Not that you're having a dig at TalkSport or anything like that. Other radio stations are available, right?
Of course.
But before we go, mate, well, you know the drill. Would you like to tell everyone where they can find you?
Yes, you can follow me on Twitter at PoshBertie, Instagram at Bertie Wanless. That's it. Those are my socials.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And I'd like to thank you for jumping in with me for this shorter broadcast for me and you. We're used to doing these 2-hour marathons, aren't we? And hopefully,
we are, yes.
Hopefully, we'll see
you've
you
not
on.
Kept me. You've not kept me in for 2 hours yet, anyway. But
not yet.
not yet. Until next time. I believe the North London Derby is after the international break, isn't it?
Well, I'll have to look into my schedule on that one because I might be cutting that one a bit tight, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
Through my other work commitments, but keep your eye on the Cannon Chatter Twitter handle. There it is. It's right at the top of the screen there for any streams, any bits and pieces that we do. You can find me on the Twitter down there at Goonally Meads. Thank you so much for people who've been watching us, and keep chatting.
Keep chatting.